So, should we tell a little joke this morning? All right. So, Drew, he only comes for my jokes. I know your story, Drew. Anyway, there was an 80-year-old man, and he decided he had some money saved, and he was going to do something he never did before. So he bought a brand new convertible Porsche, red. So he took it out for a spin, and it didn't seem anybody was on the highway. So he took it up to 60, 70, 80. Do you think I could push it to 90? May try. Well, of course, he's speeding down the highway, and all of a sudden he sees the red light behind him. The officer's chasing, and he continues to run. So the officer is chasing him, finally pulls him over, and he said, "Sir, do you realize how fast you were going?" And he said, "Yes, I have a new car, and just wanted to try it out." And the officer said, "Well, I've only got 30 more minutes on my shift. If you can give me one good reason why I shouldn't give you a ticket, I'll let it go." So the man thought for a minute. He said, "You know, officer, 25 years ago, an officer followed my car down, just like you have. And my wife was in the car. And she got talking to the officer. The next thing I knew, she was in his car and left with the officer. Hadn't seen her for 20 years. He said, so when I saw you following me today, I was scared to death you were bringing her back." I don't think he got the ticket. Do you? All right. So we had a beautiful Easter celebration here, as Reverend Doug mentioned. Reverend Doug's talk was one of the best I've ever heard for an Easter talk. So thank you again for that. And we celebrated the story of the resurrection. So is the celebration of the resurrection over? We're high on Resurrection Day. We think about the glory of the resurrection and Jesus raising the tomb gone, the beautiful sun. And then Monday morning we get up and we think, oh, another day, another week. Or is it up to us to keep the journey going of the resurrection? It's a life to live, you see, the resurrection. It's a journey to take. It's not just a day. So there was Jesus gone, and his disciples, how frightened they were. They were frightened of their lives. They didn't know who was coming after them. So they huddled in an upper room together, scared to death. They knew what was. They had a master teacher, a miracle worker. But now what was to be? Here they were. And isn't that sometimes how we feel? We knew where we were, that's fine, it was good. But are we ready to take a leap into a new journey? And were they ready? Well, Jesus appeared to them in the upper room, and he said to them, I'm going to send the Holy Spirit to you. And he said, you will go and preach the gospel to all nations. Well, of course, most of them were uneducated men. They were fishermen. Incredibly thinking, what is he thinking? Me? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You know, we never walk alone. Jesus is often referred to as Jesus Christ. But Christ was never Jesus' last name. And this goes back to the teachings of Plato and Socrates. The dictionary defines Christ, it's a Greek word, as the anointed one. So what Jesus was doing was he was anointing these apostles with the Christ within him, with the power of the Christ, the anointed one, that can do all things, that knows all things, and that is always with us. Because it is the Christ within us that does the work. And it was the Christ within Jesus, and he believed that so strongly that he actually became one with that prototype. So he truly was the presence of God. That prototype, the perfect man, had melted in and raised so high that he raised the dead, he performed miracles. So Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says, the Christ is not a person, it's a principle. It was impossible for Jesus not to become the Christ as the human gave way to the divine. Our charge, human giving way to the divine. Meister Eckhart, the great 13th century mystic, said, and this really, the first time I read this, it just hit some in my heart. He said that Christ is the divine presence that is constantly being born within us, constantly being reborn. It is not only a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. So here are the disciples with a command to do something that they thought was impossible, but something awakened. That Christ's presence, which is in with you and with me, is there. Now it's up to us to awaken it, to realize it's there, to nurture it, to know that one with God is a majority. And with that Christ presence within us, as we merge into the perfect self, because you and I have a perfect prototype of who we are in the mind of God. So I want you just to close your eyes for a moment with me. And I want you to see yourself, just get a picture of yourself. And now see right behind you a picture of yourself. But it's clear. The only thing it's filled with is gold, perfection. It is so beautiful. And what we want is to merge that beautiful Christ presence that we came into this lifetime with. And the more we evolve, the more we do our work, the more we merge with that Christ presence. Just see that merging right into you now. And take a deep breath. And that's the part where you know you never walk alone. St. Paul said in Philippians, he said, it is not I, but it is the Christ within that doeth the work. I cannot tell you the rough stones in my life where that has, when I thought I could never get myself moved from Bakersfield to Dallas, I just got up one morning and I chanted all day in my heart, it is not I, but it is the Christ within that doeth the work. And I was amazed. People came out of the shadows and said, well, I'll come on over and help you pack. It was just a beauty to behold within me, because it wasn't me. I decided I didn't even think I could move. It was too much. But something within me said, you can do this. You can do this not by yourself, but with this Christ within me, the perfect prototype within each one of us, can do all things, that knows all things, and is constantly lifting. It is the power that heals us, that reveals the truth to us, and it is always with us. So on the days when we think, I walk alone, we never walk alone. First of all, that Christ's presence is with us from the day we are conceived, and probably from all eternity when we decided to take this journey into this lifetime, which is not the best lifetime to be in. While it is the best, it is not the easiest, is it? We are here for a divine purpose. We are appointed from all time. Did God say, all right, now I'm going to create Reverend Doug or Troy or George or whomever, and I'm going to leave them by themselves, let them go out in the world? Or did the presence and the mystery and the wisdom of God say, there is a perfect prototype to each person that is being born, and that is the prototype of the Christ within them that can do all things, that will lift them, that will sustain them, and that will carry them every moment of their life, if they don't forget. And how easy it is to think, I'm on this journey by myself. Have you ever done that? Boy, I have. You know, a lot of times I've thought, gee, what? Then I remember, I'm not alone. I never walk alone. The goodness of God would never put us down here by ourselves. So each one of us came in with the perfect person, the perfect man, the perfect woman. Jesus came in as the perfect prototype, but he grew into it from the time he was preaching in the temple at the age of 12 until that perfect man of his so merged with the Christ presence that he raised the dead, that he healed the sick, that he comforted those that thought perhaps they were no good anymore. And he lifted them up. He lifted them up. But one of the things he said was, do you want to be healed? And that's the question we have to ask. Do I really want to embrace this fact that there is a power and a presence within me that when I call on it, when I nurture it, wouldn't we nurture a lover? Of course, we'd send roses and flowers or whatever we would do. We nurture that Christ self within us, that perfect self through our prayer and through our meditation. And truly know, feel it in your heart and soul when you walk today, that just see yourself and then see this perfect prototype of yourself and know that's what we're here to merge with. Seeing and then seeing with our spiritual eye, because that's what it allows us to do. The Buddhist calls it soft eyes, but we go through life often with hardened eyes, right? Right, wrong, blah, 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 blah. Reverend Doug said it last week. It's my favorite quote. Rumi, beside all right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. Meet me there. It is the field of soft eyes. It is the field of love, of compassion. It is the field of knowing that within me is the perfect self. And can I be uplifted enough to truly realize that that is who I am, the perfect person in human form. And each time we rise, we let a little bit more of the Christ presence rise within us. So I was thinking last night about this. I never tell you anything that's not true. So I really don't. There's a relative, not my immediate family, that's so annoying. And it got to the point that when I heard this person was coming, I declined. I thought, I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, last night, I thought, I'm looking forward to seeing her today. And I was like, what happened? And I thought, it works. Moving into that higher self of me, seeing with my spiritual eyes, I was really able to see the good in her. I ran out, got her a birthday present, got her a card. But I thought the difference in me through seeing through soft eyes, not hard eyes, not criticism. And every time we can do that, we inspire, we allow that Christ presence to move up to us till pretty soon we see that when we walk into a room, people may not know who we are, but they know something is different, because the more that we let that Christ presence within us, the more the light shines. Watch people. You see people walking in the dark and but then see people that know they are alive, they are not alone, that they walk, that Christ's presence is raising in them, lighting them, leading their way into the truth of the matter is that there is the unity principles. One life, that life is the life of God. That life is my life now, and I have not been sent into the world by myself. I have been sent with this perfect prototype of myself, that every time I let go of something, that prototype rises. Can you imagine maybe all the things that Jesus had to go through? All of the criticism. He was a carpenter from Nazareth. Who was this man that thought he was a rabbi, so to speak? All the things. And he went through each one because he knew, I am more than this. And for each one of us this week to know that I am more than this. I am more. There's something inside of me that is guiding and leading me and lighting my light. Watch yourself this week. Every time that you see yourself light up, that Christ presence is lighting up within you. And when you're feeling down and your light is low, remember St. Paul's words, I can do all things through the Christ that strengthens me. So knowing I can't, but something within me can, I too can rise to any occasion. I can walk the walk no matter what. I can do all things. So we want to, number one, rise above old thinking, rise above old criticism. You know, there's a story of a young man, graduated from high school, not college, high school in Pennsylvania. And he was a marvelous basketball player. And the Carolina Hurricanes drafted him in 1996. And the season started, and as soon as the season started, they said, "I'm sorry, you just don't fit the mold. You're not as good as we thought you were." Well, can you imagine? Because it's not just getting onto a team. It's probably working from the time you're 3 years old to get onto that team. He was crushed. Well, all of a sudden, another offer came in. It was from the LA Lakers. And there the story begins. 18 years later, he won 5 world championships. He was an 18 All-Star team. He was on 18 All-Star teams. He was 4 times the most valuable player, 2 times scoring champion of the league, 2 Olympic gold medals. And the LA Times, on his retirement, there he was on the front page, and he held up his jersey. And he said, "And 16 years ago today, they told me I wasn't good enough." And his name was Kobe Bryant. So isn't that a story? Don't let old people's thinking get in your way. You know, with the Christ, we can do anything. And if you knew about Kobe, he was a devout Catholic. He went to Mass every single morning, and that is his true story. So we want to rise above old thinking. It doesn't matter what anybody has told us. What do we tell ourselves on a daily basis? I am more than this. I am more than this because I am here for God, I am here for good, and all things work together for good for those who love God. And St. Paul said, I can do all things through the Christ within that strengthens me. So the second thing is rise into a new awareness of yourself. Stop thinking yourself as I walk alone. What am I doing here? I'm by myself. My family may be not seeing me, my friends, I'm alone. We're never alone. The new awareness is we are always accompanied by the goodness, the grace of God, and that Christ within us that is just waiting to show the glory, and it truly is the glory of each and every one of us. And sometimes that's hard to think, me, glory. Yes, each one of us. Each one of us is God's gift to life itself. And let's remember that. And we would never be put on this earth by ourselves. But within us is our perfect self. And that's where we aspire to be. More loving, more caring, more spiritual, if that's what you want to call it, more reading, whatever it is to connect us to know that we are not alone and that we truly are the beloved of God, and within us is perfection. So let's see, we rise above old thinking. Point 1, we rise into new awareness. Point 2, and we rise into our true divinity as expressions of the divine. So tomorrow we've got a choice. We can get on the journey. We can say, oh, Easter and her talk, forget that. I'll go next week and hear Reverend Doug. That'll probably be better. Don't think that, but it may be better. I'm not saying that. But take this seriously. Resurrection isn't the end. It is the beginning of our journey upward always, because that's what we're called to be, the living presence of the God, of one life of God. But we don't come here alone. Within us is the perfect self. So the stone is rolled away in our consciousness again and again and again. And each time we let go of the fear, the tomb is gone. Every time we let go of the doubt, the rock is pushed away. Every time we underestimate ourselves and then think it again and say, no, I am the beloved of the Most High God, then that stone is pushed away and we continue to rise and we melt into that beautiful Christ within that is the miracle worker that each one of us are called to do. So Reverend Doug's going to be so happy. I'm almost on time. He's smiling over here. So in the words of the great philosopher of the 21st century, Willie Nelson, isn't that the truth? So here's what he said. He said, on the road again. I'm on the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again, he said. I want to see places that I have never seen. I want to be places that I've never been. I want to get on the road again. Will you join me this week on our journey? Oh, it would be wonderful to have all of us together taking this journey of the grace, the love, the joy, the peace, and the knowingness that each one of us are here by divine appointment, and we are never alone. God bless you.